Lena's suitcase hit the cabin floor with a soft thud, and I remember thinking, this is it, we made it. She was humming while unpacking, hair still curled from the wedding, barefoot in one of my flannels like it was already her home. She looked happy. That kind of easy, no-effort glow you get when the chaos is behind you. We'd gotten married 2 nights before, right outside that same cabin. Just a few chairs, string lights, and a rented arch in the mountains near Flagstaff. Nothing fancy, just us, close friends, and family. My name's Ethan, I'm 28. I live in Tempe, Arizona. That night after the wedding, Lena and I drank warm beer out of plastic cups and danced barefoot in the dirt until the music cut off. She leaned into me, whispered, "We did it," and laughed like a kid. Her parents, Susan and Bill, had been all over the wedding planning, Susan especially, barking about flower colors and cutting my cousin from the guest list, like she ran the damn thing. I didn't love it, but I figured it was just mom of the bride energy. Lena kept saying, she means well. 2 days later, we were still up in the mountains, just starting to settle in. I was getting groceries in town when Lena called me from the cabin. She said her parents had invited her to Lake Tahoe for a quick family trip. A wind down, she called it. Just 3 days. I didn't get it. We just got married. You need a break already. But she looked so excited when I got back. It's just a reset, she said, hugging me from behind. You'll get some time to rest too. She promised she'd be back before the weekend. Kissed me like everything was fine. I smiled and said, okay. That night, the house felt empty as hell. I reheated leftover pasta and watched TV on mute. I figured I'd call her later, but something about the whole thing, the timing, the way Susan pushed it, it didn't sit right. Quick note. Before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. Around midnight, I checked her location on Snap. She was already in Tahoe. I stared at the dot for a while. Then I shut off the lights, locked the front door, and stood there in the dark kitchen longer than I care to admit. Something was off. I just didn't know what yet. The next afternoon, she texted me a photo. She was sitting by a pool in a bright green bikini, sunglasses on, one leg dipped in the water, palm trees, hotel towels, a drink with a lime wedge, the whole postcard scene. She looked good, relaxed, but not relaxed with me. No caption, just the photo. I texted back, "Looks nice? What's the hotel called?" She replied, "It's cute, weather's perfect." That was it. I stared at the screen for a second. Then I asked who was there with them. She said, "Just mom, dad, me, kinda chill. Going to get dinner soon." Short answers, dry, no smiley face, no miss you. Just plain and distant. That wasn't Lena, not the Lena I married 5 days ago. I typed out, "Call me later." She left it on red. I tossed my phone on the couch and just sat there. The TV was still on from earlier, but I couldn't focus. My brain kept circling the same drain. Her tone, the sudden trip, the way her parents had taken over everything lately. Susan had made a comment at the wedding, half a joke, half not. Said something like, "Well, this is just the first wedding, hopefully the last." I'd laughed it off, but now it echoed. I got up and paced the living room, stopped at the counter, then just stood there, palms flat, staring out the kitchen window. Bill had always been stiff with me, never mean, just cold, no eye contact, shook my hand like he was being forced to. The man barely spoke 2 full sentences to me in the 2 years Lena and I dated. I used to think maybe he was just the quiet type. Now I wasn't so sure. The photo haunted me. She was glowing, but I wasn't part of it. Around 9, I picked up my phone and scrolled through my contacts. Paused when I hit Devin's name. My cousin's one of those guys who knows a guy. He works real estate around Reno, but he's always had side gigs, car repos, skip traces, once even helped find some runaway teen for a client. Kind of shady, but always effective. I texted him, "You free to talk? Need a favor." He called 2 minutes later. "You good?" "No, not really." I told him about the trip, the weird vibes, the pool photo. "I know it sounds crazy, something's wrong, I can feel it." "What do you want me to do?" "I don't know," I said. "She's in Tahoe, with her parents, says it's a family thing. But her texts are weird, she's not herself." "You think she's with someone else?" I hesitated. "I don't think anything. I just need eyes, anything that seems off. Can you do that?" "Yeah," he said. "Give me the hotel name." "She didn't tell me." He chuckled. "All right, I'll find her." Before we hung up, I added, "Devin, don't tell me what you think, just send me facts." He said, "Copy that." I spent the rest of the night in the backyard with a beer and a hoodie, staring at nothing. Mosquitoes buzzing, neighbor's dog barking like it always did. Normal stuff. But everything inside me felt jagged. What kind of bride leaves 5 days into the marriage to go hang out with her parents in another state? I pulled up our wedding photos on my phone, the ones my buddy took with his Canon. Lena was smiling in all of them, eyes locked on mine. You'd think she was all in. Was I that blind? Was this whole thing staged? 2 days later, I was half asleep on the couch when my phone buzzed. New email, subject line, "You need to see this." It was from Devin, no message, just a link to a shared folder. I opened it and stopped breathing. The first image hit me like a slap. Lena sitting across from some guy at a lakeside restaurant. Candles on the table, wine glasses clinking. Her head tilted back mid-laugh like she used to do with me. Next one, them walking down a dock, her hand barely brushing his arm. He was tall, expensive looking. Button-down shirt, sunglasses, that fake casual confidence rich guys wear like cologne. There were more, dozens. Poolside shots with her legs stretched out next to his. Her in that same green bikini from the photo she sent me, except now she was sipping from his drink. Another showed him with his hand on the small of her back as they stood near a fire pit. Anne, Susan, and Bill, they were everywhere, smiling, sitting next to the guy at dinner, laughing at his stories. Not once did they look shocked or out of place. It was like they were hosting a damn meet and greet. I clicked through receipts, room charges, bar tabs, even a couple of spa bookings, all under the same hotel reservation. Devin had circled everything in red. Then came the video, short clip, maybe 10 seconds. Shot from a distance. Lena and the guy, Parker, according to a note in the folder, walking out of the hotel lobby. Susan was behind them, arm linked with Bill, grinning like she'd just won something. Parker turned and said something to Lena. She laughed, then touched his chest. That was the moment it broke, not in a loud way, not some dramatic scream or table flip, just gone. Whatever trust or hope or patience I'd had, it evaporated. I sat there, silent, phone in one hand, the other clenched so tight my knuckles popped. She never mentioned Parker, never warned me her parents were parading her around like some trophy. I pulled up her last text, "Gonna get dinner soon." Yeah, with him, I wanted to smash something, my fist, the wall, the phone. Instead, I opened my laptop and saved every file to a backup drive. I needed it all, evidence, truth. A couple hours later, Devin called. "You get the folder." "Yeah," I said. My voice was flat. "Who the hell is he? Parker Langford, tech finance guy out of San Francisco? Trust fund baby, donates to charity, plays tennis, real charming asshole. How'd they even meet? Don't know yet. But this wasn't random. He didn't just happen to be there." My jaw locked. She didn't say a damn word. Devin exhaled. I'm gonna be real. The whole thing smells like a setup. Her parents looked way too comfortable with him." I nodded, even though he couldn't see me. "Yeah, I see it." He hesitated. "You want me to keep digging?" "Not yet," I said. "I've seen enough." After we hung up, I sat in the kitchen and stared at our wedding invitation pinned to the fridge. The stupid script font, the date, the quote she picked. "Together is our favorite place to be." Yeah, right. It was like watching someone set fire to your life in slow motion. I didn't sleep that night, didn't eat, just kept going over the photos, zooming in, trying to read her face. Was she playing along? Was she forced? Was she enjoying it? Did it matter? She didn't tell me. That was the part I couldn't get past. The silence. The woman I'd just promised forever to had walked into some other man's arms with her parents cheering her on like it was a goddamn pageant. I didn't cry, not once. I just stared at the last photo. Lena looking up at Parker, smiling like nothing else existed. And I knew right then, this wasn't some misunderstanding. This was betrayal. I pulled into the arrivals lane and saw her standing there alone, arms crossed over her chest, hoodie pulled tight around her. She didn't smile when she saw me, didn't wave, just got in the car and shut the door like we were roommates splitting gas. "Hey," I said. "Hey," she mumbled. The ride home was dead quiet. She stared out the window the whole time. I could feel her trying not to talk. Like Conversation would crack something open. I didn't push, I just drove. Back at the house, she dropped her bag by the stairs and said she was tired. I told her there was food in the fridge. She didn't respond. Next morning, I made breakfast. Eggs, toast, coffee, her usual. She came down in a tank top and joggers, hair in a bun, looking like a ghost of herself. She sat, picked at her food, then pushed the plate away. "You okay?" I asked. She shrugged. "Just tired." Her voice was soft, but her body language screamed it. Something was coming. I leaned back in my chair. "You want to tell me what's really going on?" She didn't answer right away, just stared at her coffee mug like it held the script. Then she looked up, still wouldn't meet my eyes, and said it. "I think we should take a break." No build-up, no warning, just dropped it on the table like a napkin. 2 weeks married. I didn't shout, I didn't curse, I didn't even blink. I stood up, walked over to the counter, and grabbed the folder. Thick with photos, receipts, screen grabs, and the little red circles Devin had added to every file. I dropped it in front of her. "What's this?" she asked. "Open it." She hesitated, then flipped it open. The first photo hit her like it hit me. Her and Parker, firelight on their faces, his hand way too familiar on her waist. Page after page, her eyes got wider. Her mouth opened slightly like she was going to speak, but never did. She reached a printout of the hotel reservation with Parker's name on the tab, then a zoomed-in screenshot of her hand touching his arm, while Susan laughed in the background, her expression cracked, brows tightening, lips twitching. She looked up at me, completely stunned. "Ethan?" she started, and then, right on cue, the front door opened. Susan's voice echoed through the entryway. "Lena, sweetie, we brought the wedding album proofs." They walked in like it was just another Tuesday. Susan had a binder in her hands. Bill followed behind her, silent like always, carrying a box. Lena didn't move. Her hands were still on the folder. I didn't move either. I sipped my coffee and waited. Susan spotted the table, the photos, the look on Lena's face, and paused. Just for a second. Then she smiled. "Well, I guess the cat's out of the bag." Susan stood there smiling like this was a baby shower. Binder clutched in both hands, sweater draped perfectly over her shoulders. Bill came in behind her, stiff as always, not saying a word. He placed the box on the side table and stood with his hands in his pockets like none of this was insane. Lena didn't say a word. She just sat there, fingers still locked on the folder, face pale. I leaned back in my chair, took another slow sip of coffee, and waited. Susan's eyes flicked down at the photos, then back up at Lena. "You weren't supposed to find out like this." Lena's voice came out tight, brittle. "What is this?" Susan smiled, like she was explaining why someone got the wrong cake order. "Sweetie, we just introduced you to someone we thought might be a better fit. That's all." I let out a laugh, short, cold. "You pimped out your own daughter before the wedding pictures were even printed." Lena spun in her seat and looked at her mom, eyes wide. "You planned this. You set me up with that guy." Susan waved her hand like it was no big deal. "It wasn't like that. We just thought Parker had potential, and you two seemed to hit it off, didn't you?" Lena pushed back from the table and stood. "Are you serious?" "You brought him to our honeymoon week." Bill finally cleared his throat. "Let's not blow this out of proportion." I stood now too. Out of proportion. You think setting up a married woman with a backup guy is normal. Bill glanced at Lena, then at Susan, then down at the floor. "We just set up a few opportunities. We didn't make her do anything." That landed like a hammer. Lena's jaw dropped. "Opportunities." Susan's voice got sharper. "You were the one smiling at dinner, laughing by the pool. We didn't force you to go along." "You set me up," Lena shouted. "You brought some random finance creep to follow me around like a dam." Audition. Susan rolled her eyes. "He's not a creep. He's successful, driven, and he actually listens." I stepped between them. "He touched her in every photo." You stood there and watched. Bill muttered, "He's from a strong family. Better connections, more aligned with what Lena deserves." Lena shook her head, disbelief all over her face. "So, what the hell was the wedding for? A formality, a test run." Susan's smile cracked, just for a second. "We were hoping marriage would mature you, help you see things more clearly. But sometimes it takes seeing another option." "You mean your option," Lena snapped. I looked at her hard. Don't act like you didn't play along." She turned to me, tears starting to form. "I didn't know they were doing this. I swear, I thought it was just a trip." I didn't say anything. I didn't believe it yet. Susan crossed her arms. "This reaction is exactly why we questioned the match in the first place. You're too emotional. You don't think long term." Lena turned back to her mom and slammed her hand on the table. "You questioned the match because you couldn't control it." Bill flinched at that, but said nothing. Lena was full-on crying now, shoulders shaking. "You humiliated me. You humiliated him. You treated our marriage like a damn business deal." Susan still didn't back down. "We tried to help you. That's what parents do." I leaned in, dead calm. "No, what you did was manipulation dressed as parenting. You played matchmaker while your daughter was still wearing her wedding ring." Lena wiped her face and turned to me. "I didn't know, Ethan." I looked her dead in the eye. "Then why didn't you leave when you figured it out?" Lena stood there, crying, hands shaking at her sides. I stayed still. I needed answers, not tears. "I didn't know they planned it," she said again. "Ethan, I swear. I thought it was just a trip." I didn't blink. "You smiled in every picture. You laughed with him. You touched him. That wasn't—" I cut her off. "Don't gaslight me. I have eyes. You looked comfortable." Susan snorted behind her. "Don't act so innocent, Lena. You seem to enjoy his company just fine." Lena turned, stunned. "Are you serious right now?" Susan's tone was ice. "I watched you. You weren't exactly pushing him away." Lena didn't deny it. That was all I needed. I stepped forward. "So I'm going to ask you once. Did you stop it?" Her mouth opened, then closed. She looked trapped. "I didn't think it was serious." "That," I said, pointing to the folder, "looks pretty serious." She glanced down, face flushed, then back at me. "I didn't know what to do. I thought it was harmless." I pulled out the pool photo and held it up. "You're drinking out of his glass. You're touching his knee. You think that's harmless." Her phone buzzed on the counter. She looked at it, then frowned and picked it up. Her face drained white as she read. "What is it?" I asked. She didn't answer. She just handed me the phone, text from Rachel, her best friend since college. "Parker's bragging that your parents promised you to him. Said it was a done deal. Gross." I turned to Susan. "What the hell is she talking about?" Susan lifted her chin. "We may have encouraged him a bit." Lena stared at her like she'd just been slapped. "You what?" "We just told him you were open to new possibilities, that your marriage was transitional." Lena's jaw dropped. "You told him my marriage wasn't real." Susan didn't flinch. "We told him it had potential to shift. That's not lying." "That's exactly what lying is," I snapped. Bill finally spoke, voice low. "It was meant to be an introduction, not a replacement, but you didn't exactly shut him down." I turned back to Lena. "He thought he owned you, because of them, and you let him believe it." She shook her head. "I didn't know. I swear I didn't know they were feeding him that crap. But you went along with it." She covered her mouth, stepping back. "I didn't know how to say no without blowing things up." I froze. I didn't soften. "You froze for 3 days." Her hands dropped to her sides. "I was scared." "No," I said. "You were comfortable." That hit her. She looked away, shoulders sinking. Susan stepped in again, calm, like always. "Look, Ethan, you were never meant to be a long-term fit. We just didn't want Lena trapped in something she'd regret." My voice dropped. "She regretted me before the honeymoon ended." Susan didn't respond. Lena was still staring at the floor, like it might swallow her. I walked over to the counter, opened the folder again, and laid out the receipts. Hotel bar charges, dinner tabs, massage appointments, all with Parker's name attached. I pointed. This wasn't some casual overlap. He wasn't just around. This was planned. Lena stepped forward, eyes locked on the paper. "They didn't tell me he was coming. But once he showed up, you didn't leave." Her voice cracked. "I didn't know how. I didn't want to upset them. They were selling you, Lena, and you stayed." She looked at me, tears pouring now. "I'm sorry. I didn't say a word." She turned back to Susan. "You tried to replace my husband like he was a leased car. What is wrong with you?" Susan actually laughed. "Don't be so dramatic." "No," Lena said, stepping closer. "You set me up. You gave that man the green light to touch me, to follow me, to treat me like I was already his. Susan finally snapped. Because you didn't stop him. The room fell dead silent. Bill cleared his throat again, but didn't add anything. I stepped back, hands off the counter. That's all I needed to hear. Lena looked at me like she knew what was coming next, and this time, she didn't try to stop it. I didn't slam the door or scream when I left the kitchen that day. I just walked upstairs, opened my laptop, and started planning. 4 days later, I stood at the same venue where Lena and I had said, I do. Except this time, there were no fairy lights, no vows, no champagne flutes, just 20 folding chairs, a rented projector, and a hard truth waiting to be shown. I'd sent the invites quietly. Friends, family, a few from her side, a few from mine. No dramatic announcement, just come by Saturday. There's something you need to see. The projector lit up just before sunset. I waited until everyone had taken their seats. Susan and Bill were right up front, acting like this was another one of their curated family events. Lena sat off to the side, red-eyed and silent. Parker showed up 10 minutes late, button down open at the collar, that same smug grin from the photos plastered on his face. He gave a little wave to Susan, then winked at Lena like she owed him something. That grin didn't last. I stepped up and clicked the first slide. A photo of our wedding, Lena in white, me with my arm around her. Then I flipped to a receipt. Hotel Lakefront, Tahoe. 3 guests, Lena, Susan, Parker. A few people shifted in their seats. Whispers started. Next slide. A poolside shot. Lena laughing, Parker's hand on her knee. Then another. Dinner, fire pit. Matching robes outside the spa. I didn't say much at first. Just let the pictures do their damage. Then I turned to the crowd. 2 weeks ago, I married Lena right here. Some of you were in this very spot. That same night, her parents were already making backup plans. Susan raised a hand. Ethan, we don't need to... I cut her off. You'll speak when I'm done. I kept going. The timeline, the trip, the lies, the text from Rachel. Then I played the video Devin had caught. The audio crackled but was clear enough. Susan's voice laughing with Parker. This marriage is temporary. You're the long game. The room went dead quiet. Bill looked down at his shoes. Someone in the back whispered, Jesus Christ! Parker shifted in his chair, adjusting his collar. I pointed at the screen. That's your matriarch. Grooming her daughter like a damn product pitch. And this guy, I pointed at Parker, shows up 3 days into our honeymoon, acting like Lena was part of the hotel package. Susan tried to stand, hands open. This is being taken way out of context. No, Susan, I said. This is exactly what you meant it to be. You gave him a runway and handed him the keys. Lena stood suddenly. Everyone looked at her. She was crying again, voice shaking. I didn't sleep with him. I nodded once. But you didn't stop it either. That landed hard. Parker stood like he was about to defend himself. I was under the impression, no one asked you, I snapped. He looked around for backup, found none, and slowly sat back down, red-faced. Someone from Lena's side muttered, What the hell were you thinking, Susan? Susan clutched her pearls, literally, and tried again. We were only trying to do what was best for her. You mean what was best for you, I said. I turned back to the crowd. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a full-on manipulation. And if Devin hadn't stepped in, I'd still be living in their delusion. Devin gave a small wave from the back. Happy to help. The projector showed one last image, Lena sitting on the edge of the dock, staring at Parker like the rest of the world didn't exist. Then I shut it off. Silence. No one clapped. No one stood. Susan tried to speak again. There are always 2 sides, someone shouted. Yeah, and we just saw yours. Parker quietly slipped out, face burning. Lena sat back down, head in her hands. Susan turned to Bill, looking for backup, but he looked hollow. Their reputation cracked right there, in real time. No yelling, no screaming, just the weight of their own actions playing out for everyone to see. Lena didn't say a word when she packed. She moved through the house like a stranger, folding clothes, zipping up the same suitcase she'd brought back from Tahoe. I sat on the couch. Didn't help. Didn't stop her. When she rolled the bag to the front door, she paused, looked at me. No tears this time. Just a face that said she already knew what the answer was. She didn't ask me to follow. She left. By noon, the fallout had already started. Susan called her sister in Tucson, then her cousin in San Diego, trying to spin it like I was unstable, vindictive even. But screenshots had already made their way to Facebook. Parker, idiot that he was, tried to play the alpha online. He posted a carousel of photos from Tahoe. Caption, "Some weeks age better than others." One of the videos had him laughing with a beer in hand, saying, "Her mom said I had a guaranteed shot. I just had to show up." That clip went viral, not just locally, everywhere. By Thursday, Susan had lost two of her biggest catering clients. Her Instagram went private. Comments were flooded with vomiting emojis and Mother of the Year jokes. Bill got dropped from a nonprofit board he'd sat on for over 10 years. Quiet email, no explanation needed. Parker nuked his socials 2 days later and vanished. And then, silence. My phone stayed quiet for a while, until it didn't. "Lena, can we talk?" I stared at it for 10 minutes before replying. "Yeah." She showed up the next night, hoodie, no makeup, eyes red. She looked small, not physically, just worn. We sat in the backyard, no lights, no drinks, just a cold Arizona breeze and the hum of cicadas. She didn't waste time. "I didn't know how to fight them," she said. I nodded. "I know." She looked at me. "But I should have tried." I didn't respond. "I didn't stop it," she said, "because I thought, maybe if I just let it happen, it would all go away." I exhaled through my nose. It didn't. She blinked fast, trying not to cry. "I love you." I looked straight at her. "That's not enough." Her face cracked at that. I needed someone who would fight for me. For us, not someone who sits quietly while her parents audition her next husband. I froze, she said again. I didn't know what to do. "You knew what was wrong," I said. "You just didn't want to be the one to burn it down." Silence sat heavy between us. She finally stood. "So that's it." I shrugged. "It has to be." She didn't argue. She nodded, hugged herself, and walked to her car. Didn't look back. I stayed in that backyard another hour, listening to the bugs and the night and the sound of nothing breaking for the first time in weeks. A month later, I was flipping burgers on the same patch of grass where Lena and I had once said our vows. Except this time, no speeches, no centerpieces, no pressure. Just the people who stuck around when things went to hell. Devin showed up first, case of beer in hand, already grinning like he knew I was finally breathing again. My cousin Sam rolled in with his wife and a tin of cookies she'd probably baked that morning. Leona came, of course, loud as ever, hugging everyone twice and teasing me the second I opened the grill. "Look at you, Mr. Backyard Hero. You look alive again." She wasn't wrong. We had folding chairs in a loose circle, music playing low from someone's Bluetooth speaker. Kids ran around in the field next to the lot, chasing each other between the pine trees. No suits, no tension, just paper plates and good people. Even my boss, Nate, stopped by. The man hated social events, but showed up in cargo shorts and handed me a six-pack like we'd known each other since high school. Around sunset, I grabbed a plastic cup, stood on a bench, and raised it. "All right," I said, real quick. "I know this isn't exactly your typical party, but I just wanted to say thank you for showing up, for being here when I was not exactly the easiest person to be around. This past month, brutal, but also kind of freeing." Devin raised his drink. "Say it, man." I nodded. Sometimes a broken promise is a blessing in disguise. Everyone cheered. It was loud, but it felt right. Later, after most folks had cleared out and the grill was cold, I found myself standing out near the fence line, same spot where Lena and I had posed for pictures not that long ago. I waited to feel something. Regret, sadness, anger, but nothing came. No sting, no ache, just clean air and the sound of someone laughing behind me. Leona stepped up next to me, holding her cup, watching the last few people pack up. "She still asks about you," she said quietly. I didn't flinch. "Doesn't matter." "You sure?" "Yeah," I said. "I'm done looking back." She nodded. "Good. She doesn't deserve your hindsight." I cracked a smile. "That's why I keep you around." She bumped her shoulder into mine. "No, you keep me around because I bring the good chips." We stood there a while longer, not talking, just breathing. And for the first time since the wedding, I actually felt like myself again. Later that night, I sat at one of the folding tables, beer in hand, Devin across from me, telling some dumb story about a raccoon getting into his garage. Leona was doubled over laughing, wiping tears with a napkin, the way she always did when something stupid hit her just right. I laughed too. Big, stupid, loud laugh. The kind I hadn't felt in months. There was no tightness in my chest, no second guessing, no ache hiding under the jokes. Just peace. The music played soft behind us. Old country stuff someone had queued up. Nothing deep, nothing sad. The sky was dark, but the patio lights gave everything a warm glow. My phone buzzed. I didn't even reach for it. I already knew who it was. Lena. One last try, probably. It buzzed again, then went quiet. I let it sit face down on the table and went back to my drink. I wasn't angry anymore, not bitter, just done. I'd lit the match on everything we built, wedding, trust, the whole mess. But it lit the way forward too. Devin handed me another beer. You good? I cracked it open. Better than good. He raised his can. To being free. Leona lifted hers too, and to raccoons. I smiled, lifted mine, and added, to clarity, to truth, to letting go. We clinked cans, drank, and let the laughter roll into the night like we didn't owe anything to the past.